If you were no longer affected by the judgment of others and you stopped judging yourself, would you make different choices? Everyone has the potency to make inspired choices. Get ready to listen, share, and experience the creativity that is you. Now, here's the host of Inspired Choices Radio Show, Possibilities Coach, Christine McIver.
Oh, welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. If you're listening live or in the replay, I'm super grateful you're here. We have another exciting show tonight. We're going to be speaking with Louise Edington all about astrology. And just before we bring her on, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. If this is your first time, I am a coach of variance and talk with people, work with organizations in lots of different areas. A couple of the areas that I'm most passionate about is working with people in their business, whether they're starting a business or they're really ready to take their business to the next level. I'm doing this for over 10 years now. I was in human resources for 25. I love to create with individuals, with organizations, especially in the area of business. I'm celebrating my 10 years in business, and I actually have a promotion going right now. It's a VIP 10-year special, and it's where you and I work together for 7 hours. It can be a VIP day, or it can be broken into a couple of days. It's 7 hours for only $750. That is a savings over 60%. And this is something that I love to do so much, and this is what I said. This is the price that it wanted to make it. So if you're looking to really take business to the next level and really make this something that you can be joyful, more pleasure with your business, and really see things come to the place where you know it is possible to be, do connect with me. You can find me at Christine@inspiredchoices.ca for my email, or inspiredchoices.ca, or here on the Inspired Choices Network. You can always connect with me. So I would love to hear from those out there that are eager for more with their business in 2019. So let's get into tonight's show, because I know we're going to run out of time, and we had 2 hours. So tonight we're talking about modern astrology, harness the stars messages. Our guest Louise Edington is going to be talking with us, and she's really dive us deep into everything about modern astrology, which I had never heard that term before, so I'm excited to hear everything she's going to share with us. So modern astrology is available for each of us to harness the stars' messages. And Louise will be with us to show us how to utilize modern astrology to harness the stars, discover our soul's true purpose. During the show, she is going to take live calls, so do call in. You can call in from the U.S. at 815-880-855. In Canada, 613-800-8736. You can always Skype Inspired Choices Network, and we'll take your call during the show. Let me just tell you a little bit about Louise. Louise Edington has been studying and practicing astrology as an interest for 30 years and working professionally as an evolutionary astrologer since 2012. Louise has also been writing daily astrology posts since 2012 on her Facebook business page. Louise is the astrologer and now on medium.com and patreon.com. She enjoys all aspects of professional astrology, but her main passion is helping clients to understand how the energies work within so that they can live a fulfilled, characterized by deep understanding and acceptance of who they truly are. This through providing astrological counseling, teaching astrology classes, and writing. And if you'd like to connect with Louise, you can do so. First of all, you can go at www.patreon.com/Louise Edington. That's LouiseEdington, or medium.com with her name as well. And you can find her on Facebook at Wild Woman Unleashed. I love that title. And we're going to talk about her book and how you can connect with her. Welcome to the show, Louise.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Christine. So thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be.
I'm so happy for you to be here, too. Louise and I had the pleasure of meeting online, and Louise shared with me a lot of this she does, and I actually had an astrological reading with her, which was so phenomenal. So I'll wait to talk about all that too. But Louise, tell me, where did your interest in astrology first begin? Like, what was it that really drew you in?
Well, I've been interested in sun signs as long as I can remember, basically. I remember looking about just sun signs as a child. I've even got some pieces of paper that from age about 12, where I was listing keywords for sun signs. But it wasn't until I was 29, which would have been my first Saturn return, when a friend of mine did my chart for me. She actually gave me an astrology reading, and then she actually gave me some astrology books, and I was hooked. I started to teach myself. It was back in the days when we had to use math and tables to create the astrological chart, because I didn't have computer programs. And I just spent hours poring over these books and buying magazines and preying on anybody that would let me, friends, children. And it went like that for very many years until I realized that, people actually charged for this.
Yeah, that's very cool. So what did you find for your Louise as you started to, you had a friend do the reading, but what did you find as you continued to dive into this area? What did you find for yourself that made you want to do this as a massive profession for you?
Well, for those familiar with Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, astrology is my 42. It's the answer to the universe and everything. It kind of, I believe that the planets and the universe all act so synchronistically, is that the word? Anyway, act together. I believe that the planets and, everything works within us. We know that the moon controls our cycles and our emotions. It makes sense to me that everything else kind of has a similar effect, and it's been my experience that is true. The Mercury controls our communications and our perceptions and our voice. Kind of added all these kind of things up, and the practice, the more astrology just astounded me. I was like, I did a child's chart, and 10 years later they kind of turned out how I thought they would turn out. It's just unbelievably accurate, done well, when the whole chart is done well.
It's amazing to me as you went through my reading and you said different things. I was giggling because, you were reading things that had definitely occurred, and yet as you started to tell me the future, very insightful. And I've had different readings over the time, over the last 10 years, I would say, of different modalities and so on. But what I really loved about what you did was you weren't being like saying it from the space of this is fact, like this is it. As if there was no choice. And you have a wonderful book out called Modern Astrology, and I'd just like to read an excerpt from the book, which I thought was fascinating. And I thought, you know what, people need to hear this piece, because people have opinions about, reading your charts and all this. There's a lot of different out there, and a lot of people I have found over the time have rejected it. But the way you book was great. So let me just read this. The aim of this book is not to teach you how to be an astrologer. It is to teach you how to use astrology as a tool to help you along your life's path. Your natal chart is a blueprint that evolves over lifetime based on how you respond and react to outer events and the evolutionary cycle of unfolding. You always have free will and choice in every segment of your life. You choose how you embody the energies in the natal chart, since all placements have both higher and lower vibrations. You also choose how to respond and react to the planetary cycles throughout your life and how they impact your natal chart. Soul chooses a general path of evolutionary development, but throughout life, you possess free will to choose which direction to go in and which traits to consciously activate. This book asks you to get to your traits, your energies in your natal chart at a deep level so that you can choose consciously with awareness. I love that. That so drew me in. Thank you for that.
Well, I just completely believe we always have free will. And within the chart, of course, you are born, say, with the sun in Leo. But there's different qualities. There's so many different yin and yang within the Leo sun sign that we can't say that every Leo sun has these same qualities. Excuse me, I've gone my throat. I'm just going to cover my mic and cough.
Okay.
There we go. It's gone.
Well, wonderful, awesome. Well, it's just fascinating to me. All of the things that you have put into this amazing book. Like, oh my goodness, that is a robust book of information.
And I wrote weeks. Can you believe that?
You wrote it in weeks? Wow.
10 weeks.
Oh my goodness, woman. Okay, now you're just showing off, Louise. That's fantastic.
That's not counting the outline. The outline, I had an outline to go to, but the first draft was 10 weeks. It's the best way I could work. Actually, I'm best working to deadlines to push something out. So yeah.
And you know yourself, so that makes a big difference. So, Louise, tell us about your approach. What is your approach to astrology?
Mm-hmm. Well, my approach is that, you kind of summed it up in that you read, but I don't believe that people should let astrology rule life. I do think that astrology is a tool. I do think that knowledge of astrology can help you navigate life more easily. For example, if there's a really challenging time coming, I like to give clients guidance about how they might approach that. I don't believe in fear-based astrology. I don't believe in predictions, as you said. I believe there's always options to approach it. And it's undeniable that there are challenging transits, we call them. But I believe that if knowledge is power, and if you know it's coming, have some guidance about how to approach it, then you can navigate it with far more ease than you're in resistance and not knowing what's going on. So I just think astrology gives you power. Mm-hmm.
I love that. I really, really do. We're going to go to our first break, Louise. When we get back, I do have a couple other questions, but certainly we'll be ready to take anyone's calls, or you can jump into the chat room as well. You can post your questions there. And Louise, what information would they need to provide for you in order for you to do a bit of a reading for them?
I would need the date, time, and place of birth.
Okay, date and place of birth. And all right, great. All right, you are. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. Okay. Oh, great.
Probably best in the
so
chat.
You are listening
live on.
Then you can see it. Well, if they call in, we can even type it in the chat for you, so not a problem. All right, everyone, listening to the Inspired Choices radio show here on the Inspired Choices Network with my guest, Louise Edington, talking about modern astrology. Stay tuned. We will be right back.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on the past or what others think. What would our lives be like if we made choices based on what we desire in this moment? By tuning in to Inspired Choices radio show with Possibilities coach Christine McIver, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to do just that. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to create the life and living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices radio show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is Inspired Choices Radio Show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're speaking with the Modern Astrology lady of the hour, Louise Edington. Louise is here talking to us all about astrology and her amazing book, Modern Astrology, and all things, right, Louise? So,
Yep.
We have got first of all, yes, okay, cool. We have got a question in this room from Melitza. She has provided you with her birth date and time and location, and she also has a question for you. Do you want to go ahead and respond to that?
I will, yeah. Well, I don't know if she's had astrology readings before, but she is a Pisces sun, but she also is Aries rising and Capricorn on the midheaven, which generally represents the career and the mission in life. Now, there's a lot of activity in the coming year or two in your career area of your chart that's indicating that it's a really powerful time for you to build structures in your business and to really climb up the ladder, as it were. If you think of the Capricorn energy, Capricorn is represented by the goat, which is actually the sea goat. But if we think of the mountain goat climbing up the mountain, it's really time for you to do that this year. And hi, Elfie Joe. So yes, it's definitely a powerful time to bring stairs in your business, to grow. It's a real focused time for your business. I have to say, Saturn is just moving into your career house. Saturn represents determination, kind of organization. It's really time to kind of buckle down, but you'll probably enjoy it because it's the area of your chart. So, and to add to that, you've got a couple of things occurring in your first house. Perhaps indicates that it's a bit time to take a bit of a forward, or to take the stage a little bit to kind of present yourself to the world rather than be hanging in the background. So, how's that?
That is so cool. That's fabulous. Oh my gosh. So I know we've got a couple others are going to put in some questions in a couple of seconds. I did want to ask you, though, how do you mix your shaman work with your astrology?
Well, I do have a Patreon level where I have a group and we do a couple of calls a month. And I also teach classes. And so when I'm teaching the classes or working with my group, I often do a lot of journey work and shamanic healing work within those classes. For example, I did a Venus retrograde class. Venus goes retrograde every 19 months. And I had the clients journeying to Venus. Also did some soul retrieval work, because Venus retrograde, particularly in Scorpio, which it was, is very deep soul work. So it just fit really well to do the shamanic work throughout it. I prefer to integrate it in the classes like that than just doing shamanic healing. I believe, again, a tool that people can use to help heal themselves, really. So that's how I use it. So.
Nice. Mm-hmm. I really, really like that. So our next caller is Elsie Jo. And you can see her date there is August the 1st, 1980, 7:20 a.m. Yeah, great.
If you give me a minute in while we chat,
yes,
I can put it in while we're talking.
Okay, great. So
do you have
if you would like to get in touch with... I was just going to tell everybody, as you look that up, connect with you. So you can definitely connect with Louise at Wild Woman Unleashed on Facebook. And as well, you can connect with her on Twitter and Instagram. And you can also connect with her to find out how you can get her book, Modern Astrology. And it's very cool how you walk people through that book, Louise, with all of the information. It's really, really great. So, are you ready with Elsie?
Yeah, could I just ask, Elsie, is that Netherlands?
Yes, it is.
It is. Okay.
Yes, it is the Netherlands.
I thought I'd better check before. Oh, and it's not found.
Hi, Louise. Yes, it's the Netherlands.
Hi, Elsie. Hi, Elsie Jo. How other way to spell your hometown? Is there a way to spell Roosteren?
It's exactly that. If it's not showing up in the program, you could try Sittard, which is Sittard. I'll put it in the chat room as well. Because sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
No, it's working. I put it in the
Okay.
Okay, I'll put that in instead. Yeah. Closest town usually works. So, okay. And your question was, how can you love yourself, life, and everybody in it more? Oh, question.
Well, even more.
Okay. I know. Okay, well, actually, you're probably going to find that pretty easy in the months ahead, because the moon's nodes, which are, to put in a shell, are our karma and our dharma. The collective moon's just moved into Capricorn and Cancer, and then that means the North Node is in Cancer. And the North Node is therefore moving back into this lovely, nurturing, motherly energy, and that's where we're being pulled towards. But for you particularly, that means that it's moving into an area of your chart and also aspecting some planets, which means that you're going to feel a very intimate connection with the collective conscious. The empathy is going to be really, really heightened. So I think I'm actually going to find it fairly come fairly naturally for the next couple of years. So.
Next couple of years. Oh, phew. Let me breathe out and relax.
That's awesome, Elsie. That's great. Okay, so our next question is, and desire, is from Kathy, and you can see her birth date in the chat room and her location, and her question. So
while
Louise, if you
tell you something about this, yes,
please
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Hello. Who am I?
Go ahead.
Okay, I was just going to say, talk about the, and I'm typing as I talk. So talking about the shamanic work, there are shamanic journeys throughout the book as well to help you use the shamanic journey work to integrate what you're learning in the book. So I integrate how I work with my group work into the book. So that's another plus. Okay, Kathy, I've got your chart.
Nice.
Your question is about growing your business and sharing your gifts. So you're another one who wants to grow your business, which is perfect. Well, kind of like Religia, your rising sign is 10 degrees Capricorn, okay? And Saturn has just gone into your first house. In fact, it's just going in. So have you been feeling a little bit held back lately? And have you been feeling like you're not quite getting want to go? Would I ask? She going to tie talk? I'm going to assume you are. Well, it's going to change as Saturn moves into your first house. You're going to feel this sense of release and determination. To add to that, Pluto, the planet of real transformation, is sitting right on your natal moon, Capricorn. So you're going through some big transformation in terms of structures and rules, really. You're feeling like you need to create your business through your own rules rather than following everybody else's rules, if you like. So do it your own way. That's the real message of this, to really kind of and check in with yourself in what feels right for you rather than taking shoulds of the world. Does that make sense?
That is fabulous. I think that message, that last message for all of us, actually. Yes, she says yes. That's very cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
There's also an element of
we're good.
There's also an element of you're putting yourself out in the world as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, we all have to take that step, don't we? We all have to take that action and step into our potency and own it. We're going to go for our second the show. We're going to go for our second show, and we're going to take some more callers and more people in the chat room. And also, I'd like to ask you a few more questions and really hear your insight about what you desire more of with astrology and what you desire to get out there in the world with people that are looking for more support. So stay tuned, everyone. You are listening to the Inspired Choices radio show here on the Inspired Choices Network, where we're talking with Louise Edington all about modern astrology. Be right back.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on the past or what others think. What would our lives be like if we made choices based on what we desire in this moment? By tuning into Inspired Choices radio show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to do just that. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to create the life and living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices radio show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you ready to have pleasure with your business? Yes, I said pleasure with your business. The Pleasure of Business a la carte will surprise you with topics like meet yourself in the boardroom, money, services, and you. Expand your visibility. The pleasure of communication. The pleasure of Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Christine McIver has so much pleasure with business and loves teaching all things business. Beginning a new business? Desiring to expand a current business? Or looking to resurrect a business that has been dormant? This program will get you fired up and bring more pleasure than you have ever imagined. Exhausted with your excuses for not creating a phenomenal business? Join now for all the pleasure with business. Pleasure of Business a la carte gives you total choice for what you desire and what your business requires. That's 24 weeks of different topics to choose from, with weekly calls, audio and video recordings, and PDFs. This class will have you dive right in and use tools to create the business that has been speaking to you. Go to inspiredchoices.ca for full details, or join the Facebook page, Pleasure o Business a la carte. Now is the time for you and your business.
This is Inspired Choices Radio Show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. Yes, you are listening to Christine McIver, and tonight I have a wonderful guest, Louise Edington, and we're talking about modern astrology. And I think everybody in the chat room is reading my mind, Louise, because where I wanted to go into was talk about the private reading you had given me and how a private reading is different from what you're gifting everyone tonight. And also, we're going to talk about an amazing offer that you are gifting everyone who is listening to the show. So the private offer, the gift offer actually is 20% off of readings, plus a drawing for everyone that signs up there by December the 31st and emails their name and address to louise@louiseedington.com for a signed book, a copy of book mailed anywhere in the world. Like, hello? That's freaking amazing. Like, wow. Our listeners.
To enter the drawing, they only need to sign up for my news at louiseedington.com, not for a reading. So,
okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. That's fabulous. So, what I was really surprised by when you and I did our reading, so we did it over Zoom, and you, of course, recorded it so I could have the recordings. But what I was really astonished by was that you brought up the astrological chart, and obviously it was my chart that you brought up, and you went back and forth between different charts, and you pointed out and you explained things to me. And I so loved the visual along with the auditorial, and I was able to interact and ask you questions. If this is not your gig, right? If astrology is not your gig, or any modality is not your gig, then what can happen is when you use terminologies that we're not familiar with, right? I mean, I know for myself and other people turn off. Like, we're like, I don't understand what that was. And then we might feel weird asking, like, what do you mean by that, right? But when you're doing it, Louise, you're walking through, and you are obviously intuitively picking up when we need more clarity or whatever the case may be, right? So it's fabulous the way that you do a reading, and I felt so guided with all of the information that you provided. It was outstanding. Truthfully, it was outstanding.
Oh, thank you. And, truth is that, yes, I've for 30 years, but the more I do astrology, the more tuned I am to the astrology. So, yes, I am very intuitive. The chart speaks to me. I would almost kind of leaps out and dances around. That's how it feels to me when I'm doing a reading. Right. And I do like to share it to people, because even if they don't know what all the symbols mean and things, I feel like as I'm explaining and just pointing at things on the screen, they kind of feel into it. Is their soul map, basically. The chart is a soul map, so they can feel into their own soul. And we talk about soul purpose in a deeper session. We talk about more private things. We talk a bit about timing. I'm not a big astrologer on, exact timings of things, but I will talk about, you're going through a period of this rather than giving you, this will happen on this day, because I don't think that really happens. Some people, it occasionally it does, but sometimes things happen a few days before or over a longer period, depending on the energies of the chart. And I do see the whole chart as a real spiral of evolution. You know, we're born and as we go through life, we're in a reverse spiral, kind of a reverse funnel, if you like, that's opening up and opening up and opening up. And I just think I guide people to open up and grow.
I love that. I really love that. That's amazing. And how many of us are not desiring that, right? We're desiring to most of us, at least if you're listening to our network and our shows, right? People are desiring all that and wanting to really expand and grow. And I think that there's a growing desire of consciousness in the world that people they're more into personal development, and they really, as they start down that path, whatever age they're at, they are desiring to get a greater insight into themselves and how they can impact the world around them. And certainly with a lot of the challenges that we see in the world, right? Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, somebody's asking about auspicious years and good luck. I don't use the word luck very much, but there are more. Yes, everybody does have similar cycles. Yeah, there are set cycles in our lifetime, such as the Saturn returns that happen around age 29 and 58. And there are also Jupiter returns that happen about every 12 years. Every planet has a return. We have midlife transits, as they're called, such as the Uranus opposition at about age 42, which is the energy where people, a guy might leave his wife and go and buy a red Ferrari. That energy. But I always, I shy away from using good and bad all the time, because Jupiter, the planet Jupiter, when that's affect people, it's generally seen as auspicious and good, but it can be too much times. So one example is that Jupiter just moved into Sagittarius recently, and that's the sign that Jupiter rules. And I have my Mercury, which is my mind, at 0 degrees of Sagittarius. So I was really excited. I was like, I'm going to be writing like a demon, while Jupiter's sitting on my Mercury. Well, I actually got a big headache. It was almost like too much pressure for a few days. After, of course. So I really hesitate to use the good and bad. I always try and, in my readings, I try and say, well, this is challenging, but this is how it could also be good, really good,
Right. So if someone has something that's very, very challenging coming ahead, you don't avoid that either, do you?
Oh, absolutely not. No. I will say this challenge could be, this energy coming up in this period could be really, really challenging. But that's when I use my knowledge, my experience to help guide people about how they could best approach that challenge. It's just saying it's going to be terrible, because I don't believe it will always necessarily be terrible, if you approach it well. So.
Right, and that's the reason to get the information to support you to move forward through. Yeah, go ahead.
Exactly. So Kathy's just saying having a lot of energy can go well or poorly. We still have choices to make in the middle of everything going on. Exactly. Now, me getting a headache for a few days while Jupiter on my Mercury was not the end of the world. But it just surprised me. And, it's good to know that, yes, Jupiter is the greater benefic, to use an old term in astrology, a lucky planet, and it brings expansion. But expansion can not always be it can be too much of a good thing. And it was for me. I got a headache. If Jupiter's going through your first, you can have a tremendous time, publicly. Your thing can grow, but you could also gain weight. There's 2 examples for you.
That's quite interesting. So, Louise, tell us about your book. Tell us about what's in the book, what people can expect with the book, and just can you give us an insight into that?
Yeah, well, the book's written for the end user. It's generally written for somebody that's had an interest in astrology for a while, and it does it gives you resources for a start to be able to go and create your own chart, where to go to do that for free. It gives a table of symbols, all that a normal book might do, a normal astrology book, that is. But and I take, obviously I describe each sign in detail, but the key aim of this book, it gives you tools to help you maximize the energies, or to perhaps lessen some of the less pleasant energies in each sign. There's all kinds of suggestions for tools in each chapter. But the key to the book, I think, that I've tried to get across is that it's all about blending. You can't take each bit separately. Initially, you have to, but then you create this whole story from it. So I suggest in the example going through and taking keywords and blending them into a story that makes sense to you.
That's very cool.
I hope that makes sense.
That's very cool. Okay, we are going to, it does. We are going to go to our last break of the show. Be sure to connect with Louise. Go over to her website. And there you can take advantage of learning a lot more. You can book a private session with her, and you can connect with her to get her book, Modern Astrology, and everything will be there on the website. So that is your website again, Louise, is, sorry, I'm just looking for it. Is it louiseedington.com?
It's Louise. That's correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Louise, okay,
Your
great. So louiseedington.com. All right, my friend. Okay. You're going to find Louise. There's no doubt about it. Or you can come to this replay, and we will have all the links to connect with Louise, the special that she's offering all of our listeners. You can definitely find them all here in these links. Stay tuned, everyone. We'll be back for our final segment of the show here on the Inspired Choices radio show on Inspired Choices Network. We'll be right back.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on the past or what others think. What would our lives be like if we made choices based on what we desire in this moment? By tuning into Inspired Choices radio show with Possibilities coach Christine McIver, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to do just that. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to create the life and living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices radio show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is Inspired Choices Radio Show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736. Or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for joining tonight. We are speaking with Louise Edington, and we're talking all about astrology and astrology with her input. I just love the energy, your energy, Louise, around astrology and how you approach it and how you connect with individuals when you're giving the information that they can work with. So that's really awesome. We have one more that would like some input from you, and I have all her information there in the chat room. Her name is Alicia, and you've got her birth date, and her question is a general question regarding work and school. Wonderful.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Alicia actually has similar makeup to Alicia, so she has and going into her career house. Well, it's the top of your chart, so it's your creation, your contribution in life. And you've got an awful lot going on in that too. So again, it's a time to get determined and you have to really kind of knuckle down and get something with this energy in your career house or career area of your chart. Additionally, just looking at other things, though, I mentioned the moon's nodes before, the karma and dharma. That's all also in your the parts of your chart that relate to both your public life or career and your home. So you're also pulled to make sure that work doesn't take over your home life. That's what it reads to me. To make sure that you don't ignore what's at home and kind of let that fall apart. And it's also self-care. I think self-care is going to be very important because you're almost going to feel so driven to just work. And I presume school, you kind of mean college. So I presume you're a very busy person. So I'm going to say that self-care is really important to you for you to be able to manage all that you're taking on. Does that make sense for you, Alicia? I'm talking about like taking time out.
Yes, it totally makes sense.
Even a nap or a long or something. Cool. That's awesome. And I would encourage you to do it, or you can feel a little bit
fabulous.
worn out by it. Yeah. You're welcome.
Thanks, Louise. That's great. So, Louise, tell me something. You do individual readings. Do you also do general readings as to what we might be experiencing over the next 12 months?
Mm-hmm. I do that in more for my Patreon, my Patreon. I do write pretty much every day about the energies that are going on. And, I take part in, like tomorrow, I'm in a part of a panel of other astrologers where and I've got my bit where we're all talking about the energy of 2019. I would say I'm constantly doing live streams and things like that, but my patrons get the most detailed work of that. And, that's the kind of pretty inexpensive way to get in my world. Patrons at certain levels also get discounts on readings if they're not ready to use this one at the moment. So, yeah.
Right.
I put out a lot of content.
So what
are you? Yeah.
Do you? That's very generous of you, Louise.
Sorry,
very, very generous. What do you? Sorry, I said that's very generous of you. So what do you yourself doing going forward, Louise? You've written this book. You are being very generous with people. What is your next desire on your path with astrology?
Yeah, my biggest desires, my aims for 2019 are, I do have another book in so I'm going to be writing the outline for that and sending that to the publisher to see them to publish that one too, and hopefully they'll say yes. So that's another book. I really want to grow my Patreon. Patreon makes life easier for people like me. I can give a lot to a lot of people for a very small amount of money each month. That's what I like about Patreon. It enables me to throw out loads of content and to help people, especially in conjunction with books. If people buy my book and listen to my monthly and daily reports and like that, it all will start to make sense to them. Other than that, probably teach my level 1 class again in 2019. I do want to build up a kind of school, if you like.
Oh, and do you do that in person or do you do that online?
I think that's plenty. Oh, I do it online. I do everything on Zoom.
So do you do it?
I could then work in my pajama bottom.
Oh, okay,
I don't
okay.
have a place.
That's...
Yeah.
I love that. And can they sign for that class? Do you have that class listed in your website as well?
Not yet, no. I will do. But if they went on my email list, they would notification of it. Yeah. I also have a free Facebook group on Facebook called Planetary Magic Cafe that people are free to come and join. Right. And so, they would, if they sign up for emails and things, they would get notification. It's ready. I haven't decided when I can do it yet. So, yeah.
Right. Wow. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, Louise, and for your generosity and for everything you're doing in the world. I am very, very grateful. Fabulous.
Oh,
okay, my friends, that's it for tonight's show. Oh, thank you. Next week, join me for a show I'm doing called The World is Looking for the Guru in You. Until next week, have an amazing, amazing week. And remember, you can another choice. Take care, my friends. And remember, it's all about you.
Thank you for choosing to listen to Inspired Choices Radio Show. Christine McIver will return next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, have the best week of your life by making the choices that bring you all that you desire.